Dear friends, welcome to Glimpses of World History by the legendary architect of modern India, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. You are about to experience this masterpiece narrated through an artificial recreation of Nehru's voice. Before we begin, I kindly request that you set aside your mobile devices and listen with full attention and tranquility. Thank you.
Letter number 7, 11th January year 1931. The Greek city-states. Dear Priyadarshini, in my last letter, I said something about the Greeks or Hellenes. Let us have another look at them and try to form some idea of what they were like. It is very difficult, of course, for us to form a real and truthful idea of something or some people whom we have never seen. We are so used to our present conditions and ways of living that we can hardly imagine an utterly different world. Yet, the ancient world, whether in India or China or Greece, was utterly different from the present world. All we can do is to guess, with the help of their books and buildings and other remains, what the people in those days were like. There is one very interesting fact about Greece. The Greeks apparently did not like big kingdoms or empires. They liked little city-states. That is to say, each city was an independent state. They were little republics with the city in the center and some fields round about from which the food of the city came. A republic, as you know, has no king. These Greek city-states had no kings, but were governed by the rich citizens. The average man there had little or no say in the government. There were many slaves who had no rights in the government, and women also had no rights, so that only a part of the population of the city-states were citizens and as such could vote on public questions. It was not difficult for these citizens to vote, as all of them could be gathered together in one place. This could only be done because it was a small city-state and not a great big country under one government. Imagine all the voters of India, or even of a province like Bengal or Agra, meeting together. It simply can't be done. This difficulty had to be faced later in other countries, and a solution was found in what is called representative government. This means that instead of all the voters of a country meeting together to decide on a question, they elect their representatives who meet together and consider public questions relating to the country and make laws for it. In this way, the ordinary voter is supposed to help indirectly in the government of his country. But this has nothing to do with Greece. Greece avoided this difficult question by not having anything bigger than a city-state. Although the Greeks spread out, as I have told you, all over Greece and southern Italy and Sicily and other coasts of the Mediterranean, they did not try to have an empire or one government for all these places under their control. Everywhere they went, they formed their separate city-state. In India also, you will find that in the early days, there were small republics or kingdoms, rather like the Greek city-state. But apparently, they did not last long and they were absorbed into larger kingdoms. Even so, however, for a very long time, our village panchayats had a great deal of power. Perhaps the first impulse of the old Aryans was to have small city-states wherever they went. But geographical conditions and contact with older civilizations gradually made them give up this idea in many of the countries they inhabited. In Persia especially, we find large states and empires grew up. In India also, there was a tendency for larger kingdoms to grow up. But in Greece, the city-state continued for long, till a Greek, famous in history, made the first attempt we know of to conquer the world. This was Alexander the Great. We shall have something to say of him later. So, the Greeks refused to join their little city-states together to form a large state kingdom or republic. Not only did they keep separate and independent, but they were almost always fighting each other. There was great rivalry between them, often resulting in war. And yet there were many common links joining these city-states together. They had a common language, a common culture, and the same religion, Their religion was one of many gods and goddesses, and they had a rich and beautiful mythology like the old Hindu mythology. They worshipped the beautiful. Even now we have a few of their old statues in marble and stone, and they are wondrously beautiful. They believed in having healthy and beautiful bodies, and for this purpose organized games and races. These games used to take place from time to time on a big scale at Olympia in Greece, and people from all over Greece gathered together there. You must have heard of the Olympic Games that take place even now. The name has been taken from the old Greek games at Olympia and applied to games and championships between different countries. So the Greek city-states lived separately, meeting each other at their games and fighting each other frequently. When a great danger came from outside, however, they united to resist it. This was the Persian invasion, about which we shall have something to say at a later stage.
Dear listeners, this was legendary Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's masterpiece, Glimpses of World History. You can listen to the Hindi version of it in the link shared in description. But please remember, creating informative content takes a lot of time and research. But it helps preserve important stories and helps people learn. Your support really matters. When you like, subscribe and share these videos, you help good content succeed instead of trashy videos. You're choosing education over entertainment, knowledge over nonsense. Support us through paying thanks, supers and subscriptions. Let's go to the next episode.